I repeat, I did not sleep with that young intern. As a matter of fact, I was up all night.
Now, being a pro wrestler means everything you do is constantly under scrutiny. This scrutiny isn't exclusive to the in-ring performance of wrestlers,
Kingston jaw and face planted,
as it also extends to life outside the ring and includes the behavior of wrestlers when they aren't performing in front of thousands of fans. Thanks to social media, it's very hard for a wrestler in the public eye to hide anything negative from their past. And as we'll see in this list, somebody's always going to find that past. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 wrestlers whose past came back to haunt them. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and maybe follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists.
Well, could we stop for a second? All right.
Number 1. Shawn Spears. One of the more problematic things about Twitter is that you can have tweets on your account from several years back which don't reflect who you are today. A lot of wrestlers before they're in the spotlight hold very different views on certain topics and could be in completely different mindsets during certain times of their lives. This was the case with Shawn Spears when some old tweets surfaced in 2018 of a graphic tone which Spears published way back in 2011. Spears sent a tweet to female wrestlers Sienna and Ali in 2011 that read, "It's not rape if they're sleeping." Obviously, fans weren't happy about this and they let their voices be heard, with some fans demanding that Spears was released from WWE. Once the tweet surfaced, Spears would tweet an apology, saying, "I have no excuse for my old tweets. I was a different person 6 years ago and I'm beyond ashamed at what I considered humor. I'm so damn embarrassed and I'm truly sorry to anyone I've offended." Spears would serve no punishment, so WWE clearly took the stance that he had grown as a human being and that his apology was completely genuine. Number 2. Travis Banks. Now, the speaking out movement of 2020 was one of the most important movements in the history of professional wrestling. It gave a safe opportunity for victims to come forward and share their stories, and it forced the abusers to be held accountable.
Seeing the news, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword where I'm really thankful that these women are speaking out, but I'm also really heartbroken at the fact that that was happening in the first place.
One of the names that came forward during the movement was wrestler Millie McKenzie, who accused NXT UK wrestler Travis Banks of an emotionally abusive relationship, which included him misusing his position of trust over her when she was just 17 years old. McKenzie would publish screenshots of the messages and claim that Banks also misused other trainees. Banks would then respond with a statement stating that the relationship was strictly consensual, but he was sorry for any harm caused. However, the WWE didn't accept this, and Banks would be released from the company on June 26th. Number 3. Jimmy Havoc. Jimmy Havoc was one of numerous members of the wrestling industry accused of misconduct as part of the aforementioned speaking out movement. His former girlfriend Rebecca Crow accused him of numerous terrible things during their relationship. Crow also shared an emotional account from an anonymous individual alleging she had been abused by Havoc. AEW announced shortly after the allegations were made that Havoc would be receiving treatment and counseling in an effort to overcome the mental health and substance abuse challenges in his life, and that his position in the company would be re-evaluated following his treatment. However, in August of 2020, he would be released from the company, implying that the program Havoc undertook didn't work. Number 4. Lars Sullivan.
ladies and gentlemen, we've been hearing about this man for months.
Shortly after the main roster call-up of Lars Sullivan in 2019, screenshots circulated on social media of Lars running accounts on bodybuilding forums between 2007 and 2013. The majority of these posts were extremely controversial, and they were even targeted at WWE employees such as R-Truth, Kofi Kingston, and Stephanie McMahon. Lars was fined $100,000 by WWE, and a statement was released on behalf of him. The statement read, "There is no excuse for the inappropriate remarks that I made years ago. They do not reflect my personal beliefs nor who I am today, and I apologize to anyone I offended." Now, 2019 didn't stop being a rough year for Lars, as in December it was revealed that he took part in adult films under the name Mitch Bennett. Number 5. Jack Gallagher.
Look at this new side of Jack Gallagher.
One of the biggest names that was accused as part of the speaking out movement was that of WWE superstar Jack Gallagher. Twitter user @JaneBKYBoo shared a statement stating she attended a New Year's Eve party in 2014 where Gallagher was also an attendee. She said Gallagher poured excessive amounts of alcohol into her glass, including moments when she left her glass unattended. Gallagher would then follow this act up by incredibly inappropriate actions that are possibly just too much for a YouTube video.
That's right, Jack Gallagher, the former gentleman. I don't even feel right calling him that anymore.
As a result, Gallagher would be released from WWE shortly after the claims came out. He would then be completely erased from WWE.com as if he never existed, given the Chris Benoit treatment. Number 6. Sami Guevara.
I just want to apologize to anybody I let down, to Sasha, to anybody I hurt with my words.
On June 22, 2020, AEW superstar Sami Guevara was suspended by AEW after it was revealed that he made inappropriate remarks in relation to WWE superstar Sasha Banks during a podcast in January of 2016.
Bro, Sasha Banks, oh my god. When I was at the WWE the other week, I wanted to just go that woman.
You had a tryout?
Sami would apologize for the comments, but fans didn't think it was enough and thought Sami deserved a severe punishment. Sasha would respond to the remarks by posting a statement on her Twitter page saying, "Earlier I spoke with Sami, he apologized and we had an open discussion. Words like the comments he made, whether jokingly or not, have absolutely no place in our society. I don't condone or tolerate this type of behavior." Sasha would finish her statement off by saying, "No person, man, woman or child should ever be subjected to a feeling of fear or any unsafe environment." The conditions of Sami's AEW suspension were that he would be required to attend sensitivity training and his pay would be donated to the Women's Center of Jacksonville.
Sami Guevara.
Sami completed his training and he is now back in AEW. Number 7. Tessa Blanchard.
She shattered the glass ceiling. She became world's champion.
One day before Tessa Blanchard was about to make history and win the Impact World title at the Hard to Kill event, Tessa became part of the biggest story in professional wrestling, but all for the wrong reasons.
And I didn't anticipate how difficult locker rooms would be. I shame on me for thinking everyone just gets along.
Tessa put out a tweet stating, "Hey women, try to support one another. Cool things happen." The tweet got called out by several top female talents who called out the hypocrisy of the tweet. NXT superstar Chelsea Green quoted the tweet and replied with, "You've consistently put down, bullied and belittled countless female co-workers including me. Is that support?" Other talents who called Tessa out included Illa Dawn and Rebel. One of the more shocking revelations was an accusation of racism from Sienna, who tweeted, "Remember when you spat in a black woman's face and called her the N-word in Japan? Was that you supporting women?" The audacity of this tweet.
Someone's always going to have something to say. So am I going to sit here and bitch about it online or gripe about every little thing that happens?
It took Tessa almost a week for her to release a statement on the matters, which raised questions as to why it took so long. Her statement went as follows: "Over the last week, I've been accused of calling a fellow wrestler a racial slur. To read this allegation has been personally upsetting. To be clear, I absolutely did not use that word. That word is not in my vocabulary. That word is not in my heart. Racism is not in my heart." She would then go on to say, "While I did not do what was claimed, I stand ready to use my platform to support the fight against racism however I can." The whole situation was incredibly messy, as Tessa would still be positioned as the face of Impact Wrestling until she was mysteriously off television for quote-unquote personal reasons.
The Impact World Champion Tessa Blanchard is still not in the building tonight.
However, by June 30th, Tessa would be out of Impact Wrestling and stripped of the world title after her established attitude problems caused conflicts with Impact management. Number 8. Joey Ryan.
What is he doing? Oh my God. He Germaned her by the pectorals. Disgusting.
Again, as part of the speaking out movement, one of the names that was accused was Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan wasn't just accused by one individual, he was accused by almost 20 different individuals who were brave enough to share their stories online.
Listening to my name and my reputation get dragged through the mud is nothing new to me. I've dealt with that my entire career.
Impact Wrestling terminated Ryan with immediate effect following the allegations. It was a move that Ryan himself would criticize, as he stated that Impact should have done an in-depth investigation. Ryan took to Twitter to address the allegations, and he did this by uploading an hour-long video where he denied every single accusation against him.
I also want it clear that I have always been able to separate business from my personal life. I have never used any clout or any kind of influence I have in wrestling to get people to do anything that they don't want to do, or I've never used it for personal gain.
Number 9. Velveteen Dream.
If you don't know what happened, Velveteen Dream has been exposed. Patrick Clark has been exposed.
The accusations against NXT superstar Velveteen Dream surfaced in April of 2020 when Dream was accused of sending indecent images to a minor on Instagram.
I would love to hear the sound of your voice. That's what I think he says. 1 second, then they play the sound of their voice. Is my voice nice? Then he goes,
What school do you go to?
alright, no one pause right there.
Then in June, Dream was name-dropped as part of the Speaking Out movement when it was alleged that he sent explicit photos to minors as well as having inappropriate contact with another minor. Dream would deny all accusations on a social media post, but it did little to convince fans that he wasn't guilty. WWE would take zero action in relation to the accusations, which fans obviously weren't happy with. The only time the accusations were addressed were during a conference call to promote NXT TakeOver 30. Triple H would state, "So obviously we take all of these things very seriously. Allegations of misconduct of any nature we take very seriously. We looked into it, didn't find anything there in the manner of what we were looking for, and we moved on. But it doesn't change the fact that we take it seriously."
Oh, wow! Look who's back! Back again! The Velveteen Dream's back!
Dream, after a few months off television, would continue to be featured heavily on NXT programming, which was met with the hashtag #FireVelveteenDream trending worldwide. And number 10, Hulk Hogan.
World Wrestling Entertainment has severed ties with perhaps its most famous face, Terry Bollea, better known as Hulk Hogan.
On July 24, 2015, WWE cut ties with the legendary Hulk Hogan after a publication by the National Enquirer detailed an anti-black racist rant made by Hogan on a secret videotape in 2012, which included numerous uses of the N-word.
I'm not a double standard type guy. I'm a racist to a point. Yeah. You know, when it comes to my basketball player, if we're gonna
Once the recordings went public, Hogan would quickly apologize for the remarks and stated that the language is offensive and inconsistent with his own beliefs.
Weird situation where I said what I said, never should have said it even though it was in a private setting. But the weirdest thing is, so many people know who I am.
Former wrestlers such as Virgil and Kamala both claimed Hogan wasn't racist despite the remarks. Whilst Mark Henry and Booker T were more offended by the remarks and praised WWE's decision on the matter, Hogan would give an interview with ABC on August 31st where he pleaded for forgiveness and stated that he inherited a racial basis from the neighborhood he grew up in and that the N-word was a common phrase used by people during that time.
And all my friends, we greeted each other saying that word. We teased each other with that word. The word was just thrown around like it was nothing.
The WWE Hall of Famer, the most recognized sports entertainer in the world.
Hogan's WWE absence would last 3 years, as by the summer of 2018, he was back in the WWE mix once again. But there you have it guys, 10 wrestlers whose past came back to haunt them. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.